I'm Matt Cito. I'm a teacher, father, professional fishing guide, and passionate home chef. Come join me on my fishing and culinary adventures throughout Nova Scotia as I try to quell my angler's appetite. For me, springtime means two things. It means the school year is almost over, and it marks the opening of brook trout fishing here in Nova Scotia. Like most other anglers, I spend the winter months counting down the days until I can hit the water in pursuit of our provincial fish. And even on the slow days, it's just nice to get out of the house and be on the water. Springtime also means my gardens are starting to take shape. Seeds are sprouting and beds are filling up with new growth. It won't be long now before I can start harvesting and enjoying some early summer vegetables. Speckled trout, more commonly referred to as brook trout, can be found in the many lakes and rivers throughout the province and are extremely sought after by local anglers, both as a sport fish and table fare. You don't need a boat to go trout fishing, but it definitely helps your odds. This is especially true in spring when the water is still cold. Unfortunately, chain pickerel and smallmouth bass, invasive species to Nova Scotia, have taken their toll on trout populations. But for the most part, you never have to travel too far to go trout fishing. But if you want a shot at some bigger fish, you'll probably have to extend your range. I grew up on Cape Breton Island, so for me, this annual late spring trip is like coming home. And I can't think of a better place to disconnect and spend a couple of days at a camp in the woods and chase trout. Days start early and end late here in spring. The fishing days are long, and planning for ever-changing weather can be tough. Luckily, we got a few fish before the weather started to shift. These fish are beautiful, with such a range of colors from one fish to the next. We're allowed to keep 3 fish each on this particular river, with only one being larger than 14 inches. But it only takes a couple to make a meal, so most are quickly admired and released. I'd planned a shore lunch for later, but it may have to happen soon to avoid the rain. It was getting darker and the wind was picking up. Luckily, we already caught a few 10-11 inch trout this morning that are perfect size for the pan or skillet. Brook trout are not only one of my favorite fish to catch, they're one of my favorite fish to eat as well. There's something nostalgic about cooking a trout on the riverbank. For a lot of us, brook trout were the first fish we caught and kept and cooked. So I've already gutted and cleaned the trout, and if you wanted to, you could cook it just like this. But today we're going to do it the way I did it that first time nearly 2 decades ago. And that's butterflied, seasoned with lemon pepper and pan-fried. First we're going to remove all the fins and cut the backbone out, leaving both sides of the trout attached. Next we're going to season and coat the fish. Brookies taste great, so I like to keep things simple and not bury that sweet trouty goodness. A little salt, lemon pepper, and flour are all I need.
Okay, now flip these over and do the same thing.
I'm really working the flour into the fish so it gets an even crispy coating when it's done.
Boys, oh boys. Boys, oh boys.
Pan-sized trout, such as these, don't take very long to cook, especially in a hot cast iron pan. Just a couple of minutes per side should do. The biggest mistake you can make with trout is overcooking it. It will become tough and dry. But honestly, that rule applies for basically every kind of fish.
Oh my God.
They smell amazing, and they're almost done. I finish with a slice of lemon in the pan and a bit of butter. This will be poured over the butterflied trout to add that extra lemony kick. Add the corn and beans to round out our shore lunch, and it's time to eat. Can't wait to taste it.
It's the first recipe I learned. See if it's as good as I remember. Yeah, it is as good as I remember. Almost sentimental, the first thing I've ever learned to cook.
Fly fishing is my favorite way to fish for brook trout. It's not always the most effective way, but in rivers, on the right days, nothing will outfish a properly presented fly. Unfortunately, this was not one of those days. But that's fishing for you. If you've spent any amount of time on the water, you're probably nodding your head in agreement.
Down right on that seam. Perfect.
However, our perseverance paid off, and boy did we work hard for each one of them. It's always hard to leave Cape Breton. The amazing scenery, fish, and people definitely make this place special. But there's still a lot of the fishing season left here, and I'm sure I'll be back a couple more times. So after packing up, I thought I'd make a quick breakfast before I hit the road. This one is usually done with smoked salmon or trout, but today I'm going to do it up with fresh brookie fillets and a curry hollandaise sauce to add the ultimate drive home breakfast, brookie eggs Benny. All right, first step, I gotta get the fillets off of these trout here.
Start by cutting just behind that fin, right up against the shoulder. Right down to the spine. You're gonna turn your knife flat. Just run it right down the spine. Look at the color of that trout. You're not gonna find that color of trout in a grocery store. That is a sea-run trout. They get those beautiful red colors into them. That's the trout you want to eat.
We're gonna try to get the pin bones out of these fillets. Now they're really small.
Grab one of these pin bones, give it a gentle pull. Okay, so we've got this trout too, because one trout wouldn't have been enough to feed us. So you can see the difference. This one's been in the river a little while. It's got the nice orange fins. If I take one of these sea trout ones with the skin, you see there's a little bit more chrome to it, a little bit more silver. You'll see the difference too with the flesh. You see the difference in color? Most of the inland trout you're gonna see are gonna be like this, but not quite red like the sea trout. Hit it with a little salt. Some lemon pepper, it'll go good with that hollandaise sauce. A little curry, just try to replicate a little bit of smokiness.
I love a good hollandaise sauce. But do you know what I hate about hollandaise sauce? The whipping. I've made thousands of casts this trip, and my arms are more tired after a few minutes of whipping this hellish sauce, but it's totally worth it.
Secret to a good eggs Benny, a little bit of vinegar in the water.
Now the fillets go into the butter. Name a better fat to cook your trout in. Go ahead, I'll wait.
We're just gonna peel that skin off that fish. Oh man. Man, that's really good. That's my new favorite eggs Benny.